Hey, everybody, welcome back to the 815 Sports Podcast. Final regular season week of the NFL. Jake and I here to give our picks. Sorry for being away for 4 weeks, but, with Christmas and other things, just get busy sometimes.
Really busy.
Yeah, but we're back for week 18, and we're excited to talk about this week and some very important games for plenty of teams, and especially ours. Packers win, they get in. The Dolphins win, they win the division, and they keep their spot there in the playoffs. But if they don't win, obviously they follow the wild card. But at least they'd still be in, I guess, is one way to look at it. But just before we get into it, I'll say just a terrible, unfortunate events that have happened to the Dolphins over the past month and a half with injuries and things like that. Just completely.
Tyreek Hill's house starting on fire.
I saw that today. So it just doesn't seem like it wants to go the Dolphins' way this year. But we'll kick it off with Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Jake, I'll let you go ahead.
Pittsburgh at Baltimore. This is no Lamar. You know that, right? Lamar's not playing. It's going to be, do you know the backup's name? Is it Huntley? Or is it, what's his name?
It was Huntley last year.
I think it's still I think he's still the backup.
He's not bad.
But Pittsburgh needs this game, right? Because I think if Pittsburgh wins, I think they're in the playoffs. Yeah. Because there's a scenario where if the Dolphins beat the Bills, Pittsburgh beats Baltimore, and Jacksonville beats Tennessee, Buffalo's out. So three things need to happen for Buffalo to be out. And the reason why it's favored is because Pittsburgh is probably now going to be favored at Baltimore with no Lamar. Jacksonville is probably going to be favored versus Tennessee, who's got 5 wins. And the Dolphins.
Jacksonville has to win.
And the Dolphins are at home, and everyone knows how good they play at home. So, that's why this Pittsburgh at Baltimore game is huge. It's got a lot of play. It's got playoff implications written all over it. So I'm going to take Pittsburgh. This is probably the third or fourth biggest game of the week. I mean, it's that important for a lot of teams. A lot of teams.
I'm picking Baltimore, even with. I just think Pittsburgh is so up and down, up and down.
They really, really need this game way more than Baltimore, and Baltimore is going to be resting probably tons of starters.
They need a lot to end up getting in the playoffs.
Who?
Steelers.
No, they don't need a lot.
Like what? They just need 2 teams to lose. The Colts.
If they win, they're in. Because
how can they?
Houston
and
Indy play each other. Hold on. We'll get into that when we get into more of the games. But yeah, Houston and Indy play each other. So one of those teams are bouncing each other.
Yeah.
So then Pittsburgh would then jump their spot, probably due to conference record.
But only 7 get in, not 8. So one of them still getting in.
If Pittsburgh wins and goes to 10-7, one of these teams is 9-8. That's how they jump.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is this, okay? Buffalo is there right now. Let's assume Buffalo wins. One of these teams is going to win, and they're going to stay at 7.
Yeah.
So just by Pittsburgh winning, Pittsburgh needs help.
That's why Pittsburgh needs Miami to win. That's what it is. Where'd my pen go? Oh.
Right there. With everything though Jake just said, even with Lamar out, and I'm sure plenty of their other starters not playing, I'm going to pick Baltimore. They're at home. It'd be tough to argue this, but I think lately they've looked like the best team in the NFL.
I mean, I don't disagree with you, but I just don't think they're going to look like that Sunday
or
Saturday.
They probably won't.
These two games are Saturday, by the way.
Yeah.
I just think Pittsburgh needs it more than Baltimore, and it's going to show. So I'm taking Pittsburgh.
Okay. On to the next. Houston at Indy, like we just talked about. For each of these teams winning, they're in.
This is win and you win the division, correct? Or no.
Jacksonville wins, they win the division.
That's right.
But if Jacksonville loses, one of these teams win, then I think it will go one of their ways.
Yeah.
But I think Houston is an up-and-coming team. I think they're a good team, a lot of young players, and they just look so much better with Stroud on the field. And he's going to be on the field on Saturday night, and because of that, I'm picking Houston. Even though Gardner Minshew's been a hell of a job has done a hell of a job this year as a backup.
I'm going to ride with the Colts. I like the home team.
Yeah.
Here,
tight one.
Oh yeah, but yeah, both of these Saturday games are going to be close. Even with Huntley, they'll probably still score, but Yeah, they're both going to be close.
All right, so we move into Sunday. We got Browns, Bengals. And who would have thought that Joe Flacco would look this amazing
They can
past
get-
couple of weeks in the
No,
NFL?
they can't get the two. No, they can't get the 2 seed.
And the Bengals,
Can they get the 2 seed?
I mean, obviously lost Joe Burrow and
No,
they
they
kind of
can't
fell
get
off.
the 2 seed because they're in the same division, right?
But who are you talking about? The Browns?
Yeah.
The Browns could move all the way up to the 2 seed, yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, they're 11-5. If they
No,
win,
I get that. I get
if
that.
they win and Buffalo wins and the Dolphins fall
So you
out,
could
they got a
have-
better.
you could
they
have
could go
two
from 5
team-
to 2.
You could have 2 teams in the same division, 1 and 2.
They're not in the same division.
Baltimore is in Cleveland's division.
Oh, I guess you're right. Yeah, they're stuck
So
there then.
the
a good
highest
point.
they can move up is 5.
Yeah,
So they're stuck.
They're stuck at 5.
Unless they somehow lose. If they lose and the Dolphins, well, no, never mind. Okay, another big game. Cincinnati's out, correct?
Yeah, Cincinnati's way out.
They're eliminated.
Yeah, they're 8-8. They're out.
They're 8. Okay. So this means nothing for Cincinnati. I'm taking Cleveland. I don't even think there's any debating for this game. I mean, Cleveland really needs to have it. I mean, how amazing would that be? 12-5 with, I mean, they've been decimated with injuries as much as the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not as key.
No Nick Chubb, who's an absolute stud, and you pay all that money to Watson, who's hardly played for you since you traded for him.
But I mean, you're still somehow, even if you lose,
You're still
they're
in.
in the playoffs.
And they're a
what-
team that kind of scares me, to be honest. I
and the
wouldn't want to
farthest-
play them.
So they can't get the 7th seed. So they're either the 5th or 6th.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
But they're in.
So-
They're clinched.
They're playing a road game in the playoffs, but whatever. They're in. That's
That's a win for the Browns.
Oh yeah, that's huge.
Vikings at Lions. Packers dominated Minnesota last week. Obviously,
They
it was
got
the
nothing
backup
to play for,
quarterbacks,
right?
but no, the
Okay.
Vikings are done. The Lions, they've
they?
already clinched too, so they don't have anything to play for.
They can't move up to the 2
They-
the 2 seed. They can if Dallas loses.
They could if Dallas loses. You're correct.
Okay, so they got. I mean, I would assume everybody plays
Yeah.
because you can't go in assuming Dallas is going to win. So I'm going to take Detroit.
I'm
I
going to take
think they
Detroit
win.
too. I think Detroit's going to have a bad taste in its mouth from what happened last weekend.
Yeah,
I think that's going to ride into the playoffs.
that
And I
game
kind
was-
of
that
think the
game was-
Lions. I think the Lions might make a little run in the playoffs.
I could see it. They're probably going to get. If they stay the 3 seed, they're definitely going to get one home game, and then the divisional they'll probably have to go on the road, unless. I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
Well, San Francisco would play the
San Francisco and Dallas
San
are going to
Francisco
get
would
2
play the
home games.
highest remaining seed.
They get 2 home games if they win their first game, because they would both get their divisional round at home. Then the conference championship would be whoever wins there.
If Dallas and Detroit both win in the first round, well, the wild card round, right? They're going to play a wild card team. But
Yeah.
in the divisional round, San Francisco will play the lowest remaining team.
Yeah. This whole 7 seed's throwing me all off.
But in this game, I got the Lions as well.
I don't think
I
this
think
is
they're a
gonna
better
be
team.
remote. I don't think this is going to be
it
close.
shouldn't be close. It shouldn't be. Close.
I don't. Minnesota's just totally fallen off a cliff.
If they still had Kirk, they probably would have won the division.
They would have probably been really good.
So up
Huge
next,
game.
Jags, Titans.
game. This is
Jags
the
have to
division.
win this game.
This is for the division.
Yeah.
This is just like Miami. You win and you win the division.
The Jags, if they don't win this game, could actually fall all the way out of the playoffs. There's a scenario in which that happens.
There's got to. I mean, I'm sure there's got to be a lot to happen, right? I mean, they probably need a lot of people to.
There's a
win.
scenario in which it could happen.
Yeah. So, I think even if somehow Jacksonville falters, I don't think they fall from 4 to 8. I mean, I know it's possible, but that would take a lot of
It'd take probably a couple ties or something nuts.
whatever. I'm taking Jacksonville in a game they got to have.
I agree.
There's a lot of games this week that teams got to have, so it's going to be an interesting week.
I agree. I'm taking Jacksonville. I tell you what, though, I like what the Titans are building there in Nashville. I think Levis is a decent quarterback. I think they could have had a better year this year, but it just didn't come together like it has in years past for them. I think next year Derrick Henry will be on a different team. But that Ty J. Spears they got at running back behind Henry, I think he's pretty good, young running back. And I look forward to seeing what they got in the years coming forward because they got a younger team in a lot of areas.
Well, if you remember to start the season, I was high on them.
Were you?
And
it's okay.
And they shit the bed.
Well, it doesn't always work out for you. Jets, Patriots. I think both these teams suck, but I'm taking the Jets.
I'm going to take New England.
Because they're at home?
Yeah, and they've also been playing well the last couple of weeks, right? They upset 2 weeks ago. They beat Denver on the road. Last week they played Buffalo really, really well.
Their defense played decent, but the offense had like 5 turns. Well, not 5, but I know I watched that Zappe throw like 3 picks. So, I don't know. The Jets. I just think the Jets are a little bit better overall. I think they get this one done. Then there's a good chance I think that this is the last game Belichick coaches as a New England Patriot.
I think this might be the last game Belichick coaches overall. I mean, he's in his early 70s. I mean, if he goes somewhere, how long do you sign him for? Like
2 years, 3 years? I don't know. Somebody would sign Belichick as head coach though.
Well, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, is that something you want to get involved in and knowing in 3 or 4 years, like, you're probably going to be starting. I don't know. I do definitely think this is the last game he coaches in New England, so it's going to be an emotional game for New England fans. I mean, that's just put it that way.
Up next, Falcons at Saints.
This has to have playoff implications all over it. I'm not sure about the division.
Okay, so here's the thing with the division. If New Orleans wins this game and Tampa Bay loses, they get the division. If Tampa Bay wins, they get the division. They stay where they're at.
Tampa plays
at Carolina.
Okay. Yeah, this is
because New Orleans whooped their ass last week, but luckily Tampa Bay's in a situation where they just have to beat Carolina to get in, which I think they're capable of doing. And I think they will. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah,
but in this game, I'm going with the Saints because they actually still have something pretty heavily to play for.
Well, don't both these teams have?
No, Atlanta's out.
I thought they were both.
Atlanta's out.
Oh yeah, that lost the Bears. Okay. Yeah.
Well, actually, there's a way that Atlanta's not eliminated yet. There's a way for Atlanta to get in. No, they can't. They can't win the division. But as a wild card, yeah.
Jesus, dear Lord. There are so many. I've never seen a last week in football have so many different goddamn scenarios. It is unreal in both divisions, both conferences, every division, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, the Dolphins with the win and a loss either get the 2 or fall to the 6. That's crazy. And then, I mean, you got play. I mean, every game so far has had playoff implications. So I'll take New Orleans at home. I think they're better. I don't really. Atlanta's just. That's why that's why that loss to the Packers to Atlanta early in the year really fucks them.
The Packers have had numerous losses, Jake. They could have already been.
Yeah, but Atlanta's one of those teams that are just
the Giants. They lost the Giants with Tommy DeVito.
They were hot.
I don't know about that.
They were playing well. Well, they were playing well, and Tommy DeVito was in that little 2 or 3 week period where he couldn't be stopped. So Tampa Bay at Carolina. Huge game for the Bucs. Do you see a slip up?
No, I don't see them slipping up 2 weeks in a row when they could have clinched last week. I don't see them losing to Carolina.
Who did they lose to last week?
The Saints. They got blown out.
Okay. I'm going to take Tampa Bay.
I'm taking Tampa. I don't have any faith in Carolina.
So they're going to play the 5 seed. Who's the 5 seed? Tampa's going to play a better team.
Tampa's going to play Philly. Well,
hold that.
There's a chance that Dallas could fall to 5. So
wait, why is Dallas and Philly the 1-1 versus each other? What's their conference record?
Conference record 7-4. Conference record 8-3.
Well, that's why Dallas is ahead.
So if Dallas wins, they'll stay
Then
2.
if-
Then
and Philly-
then I
Philly's
think
gonna
Philly
Philly
would
will
rout
beat
the
Tampa.
Bucks unless
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield played out of his mind. But I got the Bucks in this one. I
got Tampa Bay.
I think they make the playoffs.
I think this is a pretty sound win too for them. I don't think it's close.
And I just want to say I think Baker Mayfield's played really well this year. I think
mean-
he's earned not a huge contract, but I think he's earned enough to stay and at least be in Tampa one more year.
Look, you just asked to get to the playoffs. Anyway, you got to punch your ticket and you have a chance. He did it.
Yeah.
They did it. I know it's 8-8, but
Say what you want about Baker, but if he leads the Bucks to the playoffs, he led the Bucks to the playoffs, and he's led the Browns to the playoff.
yeah, I mean
Which
he's
is not terrible.
he's a good quarterback if he's on a good team, and he's on a decent team. I mean, Tampa
Yeah.
Bay's been really good
Yeah.
the recent years. I mean,
Up next, we got Bears at Packers.
playoffs.
Huge playoff implications in this game. It comes down to the same thing basically as it did last year, where the Packers played the Lions, and if the Packers won, they were in, and then the team they're playing against was just on the outskirts
they
of the
lose?
playoffs, but end up not.
They
getting
lost
in.
last year, right?
Yeah, they did. So it's the same scenario. I think the Bears are going to come out ready to play,
Oh yeah.
for sure. I think Green Bay is going to come in this game
Who will they play
if they win.
and what seed?
They're going to play the 2 seed, so
Oh,
they'll play
fuck.
Dallas, or I'd rather play. I
So
don't
they
know.
can't.
They
They
play
can't.
Dallas.
Can they jump? Can
Dallas
they
or
ever?
Philly.
Okay. Can they move up to the 6 seed where they would play the 3 seed, which would then you would be playing a
who do the
division
Rams
opponent?
play? The Rams play. If
Oh,
the
fuck.
Rams lose,
Oh, the Rams.
if
probably
the
would
Rams
lose.
lose, I think the Packers could move up because we beat.
What about their conference
Or their
record?
strength of schedule is better.
It don't matter. Did you play head to head?
Yeah, we beat them.
Okay, then you're right. Then you move them. Nothing else matters. So if you win and Rams win, you jump to 6 seed. You probably play in Detroit. Wow.
I think that's a winnable game.
Well, I'm just saying, wow. 3rd time playing them, giving you a chance to go if you want, being probably the closest game.
I'm not going to that. I have a work party.
Well, I'm just saying you could. It's close.
Yeah.
This is a big game, and I know the Packers have shrunk in some of these moments for you lately, but I just think Jordan Love's playing too well. I think the Packers are playing pretty good football. I think they're better than the Bears. I don't know that they're like light years better than the Bears, but they're better. And let me tell you, the Bears have been playing good football. Okay. I mean, you take away that loss to Cleveland
In this game, they're probably
and
both
the Bears,
playing to get
the
in.
Bears might be playing. Well, they might be playing to need help to get in, but they might have a chance. They don't have a chance now, so they're playing for house money. And let me tell you, when teams are playing for house fucking money, it is potential disaster. But I don't think so. Lambeau Field just has this weird fucking spell over it, like a cobweb. Teams come and just forget how to play football, and I think.
I don't know. Detroit beat them last year.
Well,
And how many
I
teams
mean,
beat
that's-
us in the playoffs?
that's a small. Okay, but do we really want to look up the record at home?
Well, I'm sure it's phenomenal,
Because
but
it's
I'm just
probably
saying
one of the
I
best
can
home records
I
in
can
the
name
NFL.
I can name big time losses. At
Well, I mean,
Atlanta.
I could too, but what I'm saying is their home record is probably one of the best in all of the NFL over the years. So I just think they get it done.
And what obviously I'm taking Green Bay in this game
I
as
am-
well.
I'm taking the
I
Packers.
think the Bears have a better defense than the Packers. But I think Jordan Love's playing really good ball. Actually, Jordan Love has had his this season has been would be the best season ever from a quarterback in Bears history.
Jordan Love stats.
Jordan Love's first year as a Packers quarterback
Yeah,
would be the
well,
best season ever
we
for
know-
a Bears quarterback.
we know that-
I just want to stick it out
We
there.
know that the Bears don't really have a lot of history with good quarterbacks.
So, but yeah, I'm going to take the Packers. I don't know. I'm hoping the defense plays better this week. I think they've proven to play pretty
Look,
well against Fields in the past.
You've got to keep him in the pocket. If not, it's going to be a long day.
And I agree. And I
A
think it's
long day.
important. I think it's important to know who's playing and who's not playing for the Packers
It's got
this
to be a
week,
spy.
because there's a chance the Packers are without two of their top pass catchers this weekend.
There has to be a spy. There has to be a spy on Jordan on Justin Fields the whole game, and that dude has got to get him. If that would be his only job. Don't let him run free. You chase him, because if you don't, I mean, it's not going to be good.
But this should be probably the second or third best game on.
I mean, it's probably
It could end up being the first best game, but I'm going to give Miami.
I think
and
this is
Buffalo
probably
the
the
first.
second or third most important game of the week.
Yeah.
We'll see how much more games we got down the road. So we move on to Denver at Vegas. I don't think this has any playoffs, right?
I don't think it does. I think
What's Denver?
both of these teams are eliminated.
Well, I don't know about Denver.
They're eliminated. They have an E by their name.
Okay.
It
this
doesn't
is quick.
matter.
I'm going to take Vegas.
I'm taking Vegas. They're at home.
Yeah.
And they don't have a whole thing going on with benching their quarterback and
Yeah,
whatnot over money.
Denver's in.
They're going to get
turmoil.
in trouble.
Sean
Eagles
Payton.
at Giants. I'm taking the Eagles.
Yeah,
they
I
need
mean,
this one.
The Eagles really, I mean, this is huge for them. I mean, if they lose, they ain't winning the what a collapse it would be if they lost and they go to 11-6 when they were like 10-1. So
Sometimes it happens that way though. You saw Pittsburgh years ago. They started out 10-0, and then they ended up losing like their last 6. So I'm going to take the Eagles. I don't think New York has enough to get it done. And Philly, Philly needs this game.
Look, Philly's really going to play better football than they've been playing. I mean, let's be honest. They've been playing like shit. They've been scoring, but they haven't been stopping people. And I thought that's what this Matt Patricia was supposed to be, a defensive specialist. Well, I tell you what, he ain't been shit since he's gotten there. So Seattle at Arizona. Any playoff implications for the Seahawks? I think they're in, no?
No, the Seahawks need us to lose to get in.
Really?
Yeah, the Seahawks need us to lose.
So even if they win.
So the Packers can still get into the playoffs if Seattle loses, New Orleans loses, and Minnesota.
What if Seattle wins and the Rams lose?
The Rams already clinched. They have a Y. They clinched.
So they must own the tiebreaker over Seattle. So Seattle's going to really be keen to that game because I think Seattle's going to pull one. You know what? I forgot how good Arizona is with Kyler Murray.
Kyler's a good quarterback.
I'm going to take Seattle. I like Pete Carroll. I've stressed about liking Pete Carroll on this a lot all year. I mean, he's one of the best coaches in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Gets the most out of players. I'm going to take Seattle in a game they have to have.
Seattle has to have this game, I agree, so I'm going to take Seattle, but I'm going to be cheering for Arizona.
Oh, yeah, you don't want nothing to do with Seattle winning because if for some reason Seattle gets in over you, it's just going to be like that one game, Packers, Seahawks. Which one?
Don't
it
bring
the
up
playoffs?
2014.
I'm just telling you.
Why did you do that?
Well, because
that's one of the worst losses
in
Packers history.
It's both. I mean, it could happen. I mean, Arizona's got 4 wins.
Seattle only gets in, though, if we lose.
That's what I'm saying.
We control our own destiny.
Well, so do the Dolphins. And the controlling your own destiny is a bunch of feebleness.
Yeah, because you had a chance to do it all year, but you didn't get it done. Kansas City at Chargers. I'm going to take Kansas City.
I don't think this has any maybe Kansas City can move up to – so if Kansas City –
did they beat the Bills? Or no, the Bills beat
Kansas City
them.
Can't move up. They're stuck at the 3 seed. They're locked.
3 seed.
And you know what? Mahomes is out.
He's out?
Yeah, he's not playing. He's not hurt. They're just not playing because they're locked in the 3 seed and they won the division. So this is a fuck. I don't know.
Yeah, the Chargers will probably win, but I'm taking Kansas City.
I'm going to take Kansas City. I'm taking the Chargers. I don't think Kansas City's nothing without Mahomes. So
that's fair.
I'm going to take Chargers.
That's fair. Rams, Niners. I'm going to take the Rams. The Niners have nothing to play for in this game.
Is that so the Niners can't move up or down, right?
Well, they're the 1 seed. They've clinched it.
Okay, they've clinched the 1 seed.
Move.
Okay. So I'm taking the
Rams.
I'm taking the Rams as well because
Niners have nothing.
The Rams got to have this. No,
they could lose. I mean, they
they're
could go.
locked,
They might
huh?
be able to move down, but they're in the playoffs.
Isn't that just crazy how their seasons turned around?
Yeah.
Because they were dog shit. I mean, they
Yeah.
were bad. Here they are in the playoffs.
Dallas at Washington. I'm taking Dallas.
I'm
They
taking
got to
Dallas.
have this game. I think they smoke Washington, actually.
I think they do too. You know that they're gonna be a lot of Cowboy fans there.
Yeah.
So I don't think playing in Washington's gonna affect them as maybe most teams going on the road. Yeah.
Ron
Dallas.
Rivera probably gets fired after this game too.
Yeah, it's time to move on.
Finally, Buffalo at Miami. Huge game.
Yeah,
Huge game.
Probably game. I mean, it's obviously game of the week for many reasons, but
Sunday Night Football. I'm going to make my pick, and then I'll let Jake talk. I'm going to take Buffalo. I think Buffalo's hotter than fuck right now. Miami, like I said, seems to have this fucking curse over their head to where everybody who is awesome on their team is getting hurt. And Buffalo is just so hot right now.
Let's not act like Buffalo's winning by default.
Their defense has been really good lately.
Let's not talk like they didn't kick a game-winning field goal at Chargers. Dog shit. Without Herbert. Okay, do you remember that game?
I was sleeping. I had to work.
Okay. Terrible game. Then they go in, they're losing within a minute last week versus New England. And at the end of the game, they're up 6, and New England's got the ball. Right? A touchdown wins it. I mean, Buffalo's winning by default because they're playing bad teams. With that being said, I'm riding the ship.
You say, and
I'm taking the Dolphins.
In some
Buffalo is winning but not impressing, and everybody has said that. And don't get me wrong,
they dominated the Cowboys. They dominated the
Cowboys. But
they
then
dominated the Chiefs.
They didn't dominate the Chiefs. They won by
what was it, a drop or something?
They won by
they beat the Chiefs.
They beat the Chiefs, sure, but
they dominated Miami early on, so they seem to have Miami's number.
Week 3.
I don't care. I'm just saying Miami just got fucked up last week by the Ravens.
You can't tell me after watching Buffalo the last 2 weeks and tell me they're playing well. They're winning by default. And
I don't think you win by default in the NFL.
Well, okay, whatever. They're winning because they're playing bad teams. And the Dolphins choke in big moments. I mean, that's the only thing I can say. Every big game I've ever seen the Dolphins play, besides the Cowboys, they choke. And they choked that game away. Tua just had a game-winning drive. They were up 19-10 to start the fourth quarter. Choked. I think Hill's going to play. I think Waddle is a game-time decision. I think
your best pass rushers are out for the year.
Well, we knew Jalen Phillips. Jalen Phillips has been out for
but now
Chubb's out because Mike McDaniel had him in the game with 3 minutes to go. Wishes he had a time machine. We all do, don't we? You don't. This game's going to be hard. But I think the Dolphins, they just play well at home. They have 3 home losses over the last 2 years. I don't know if it's the weather, if it's just the fans, if it's you're just familiar with the feel. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is that teams play so good at home, but the Dolphins do. And Josh Allen has been turning the ball over all year.
I don't think Tua looked very good with it last weekend.
No, he didn't. It's time for Tua. It's time for the Dolphins to make that jump. Okay, back-to-back playoffs. I get it. That's what you ask for. And if the Dolphins do get in and they're the 6th seed, say they lose, that means they would play.
Yeah, but if you're the
that means they would play Kansas City.
I'd feel comfortable playing the Chiefs on the Dolphins.
I wouldn't hate it. I mean, I wouldn't like it, but
the way
Kansas City's been playing, I don't mind it. But I want a home game. I want a home game. Because if you get the 2 seed, you get 2 home games before you have to go to Baltimore. So I'm taking the Dolphins. I think there's going to probably be about 15,000 Bills fans, but there'll be about 50,000 Dolphin fans. So as long as they're loud, they should be able to outnumber them. The fans have got to come ready. And I know I'm saying this and I shouldn't be, but those fans down there, there's just so much more to do. You got to pull them together. They need you, and I think they will be. They were really loud versus the Cowboys.
Will Frank the Tank be in attendance?
I don't know. I would not shock me if he somehow found his way down there. But I'm taking the Dolphins.
I'm taking Buffalo.
It's not a
and
must-win game for the Dolphins. It's a must-win game for Buffalo because Buffalo can play themselves out if they lose.
Yeah.
All it
But
does is take
when-
two other things.
When I take a look at Buffalo's defense, so I think that's going to be the difference. I
Okay.
think Tua's going to throw 2 picks in this game. I think Josh Allen will also throw at least 1 interception because he just is basically a guarantee anymore. I think this would be a game where I think Buffalo probably wins 31-17.
Oh, geez, blowout. See, I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. I don't know. They play well at home.
I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening, but just a great weekend of
It
games.
is a great week. It's obviously the best weekend of football. I just hate that I gotta wait all day.
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
To get the pain, misery, and suffering.
Well,
it will not end.
Well, it will.
Look, I'm just happy that they're playing for the division in week 18. If you'd have told me that to start the season, I would have taken it. They're in the playoffs, so it's not like if they lose, they're out. I hate games like that, like what yours
in back-to-back years.
But I'm riding with Miami. I'm doing it.
Well, we look forward to it. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and we'll try to do a live video here soon. Either on one of the basketball games or even the national championship game. Maybe I can talk Jake into doing a live during the national championship game.
Go Blue.
I don't know. Go Blue.
Big Ten. I don't know.
Fuck. I want Washington to win. We'll see you guys.